everyone, and welcome to Back Alley Chat, the fastest growing addiction recovery podcast in the world. I did it that time without messing it up. Hi, everyone. I wanted to do a quick intro. Today, I have a fantastic episode with someone who I really enjoy, Seth Graves. I found Seth on TikTok. He is an unbelievable storyteller. How he remembers these stories, these unbelievable amount of stories in such great detail, I will never know, but he is a phenomenal, hilarious storyteller. I am very much looking forward to our interview together. If you're on TikTok, follow him at Seth Graves here on TikTok. And a little bit of house cleaning or housekeeping. I don't know which one it is, but a little bit of that. What do I have written down here? A couple notes. Where did I put it? Oh, house cleaning, housekeeping. First of all, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all had an awesome Thanksgiving. As you may have heard in the last episode, I'm going to start doing this podcast bi-weekly. It has just become like a little too much on my plate right now, and I have some awesome news to share. So recently, I was given a promotion at work to the social services supervisor, which, just a quick story about that. So I started at the city as a homeless outreach specialist, which is like the lowest person on the totem pole. And as soon as I got there, I got super involved in everything homelessness. I think it's super interesting. Obviously, addiction's interesting too, but for me, I feel like, okay, we get it. There's a brain malfunction and blah, 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 blah. And there's a way to cure it, right? Homelessness is way more complex and it's very political. It's very, very interesting. So I really got involved. About a year and a half after having that job, I received a promotion to homeless services coordinator. And then when I was there, I was kind of, I wasn't sure what opportunity was left for me. Everyone was telling me I need to get a degree. And they created this supervisor position. They were only hiring licensed clinical social workers, which is a master's degree plus 2 years of field work and all this stuff. And I was like, man, I'm just going to be stuck here as a coordinator forever. Like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do next because that's just who I am, right? I'm not going to especially work for the government forever. You guys already know how I feel about the government in general. At least for local government, I feel like we can actually make an impact, which is really cool. And so that was happening. And they actually hired a clinician. She lasted a couple of months. Like most people that come in to do homeless services, it is a very difficult job. And, I never stopped working hard and obviously trying to be a leader and all those things. And then they approached me to actually take the supervisor position with only my associate's degree. As you all know, I'm currently working on my bachelor's in business, which is nothing. I always say, what is college going to teach me about homelessness, by the way? But anyway. So because of that, I can't be leaving in the middle of the day to film episodes and things like that. I have to lead by example and not take super long lunch breaks and take my vacation time in the middle of the day to make an episode, unfortunately. But I know that, I hope that you guys will be excited for me. And, I love that you're all with me on this journey. This podcast has always just been something that I wanted to do. I never wanted to make any money off of it or to become like a Joe Rogan or, maybe, I don't know if that happened, but I always just wanted to bring you all interesting stories and talk about what I felt were important topics that weren't being spoken about. And so I'm grateful to keep that going. That won't stop. It'll just give me a little bit more time to plan each episode and market them and all of the good stuff that comes along with doing this very awesome, amazing, number one fastest growing addiction recovery podcast in the world. So I love you all so much. I am pumped. I think the next episode I'm going to do is going to be a solo episode because I have so many things that I've been thrilling around in this busy brain of mine to talk about. And I love you guys so much. I'm sending out t-shirts. I got 4 of you. I know I messaged some of you to send me your addresses. I know not everybody wants to share their address, but if you're open to that, email me if I gave you my email and comment down below and I'll be shooting out more messages to the people, those of you that watch every week. I love you guys so much and I appreciate you all so much. And I just want to send you something to show you that I love you. So with that being said, let's get into this interview with Seth and I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Hi, Seth.
Hey, what's up?
So I'm going to actually film the intro after this, but what I was so excited to tell everybody, and I'll just tell you up front, is that, you know, you are somebody that I found on TikTok, and I truly love so much your authenticity. I love your storytelling, your positivity. Like sometimes I'll go home. My boyfriend found me the other night, like sleeping, and your like TikTok was like on repeat because I just like, I'm just chilling, and it's such a nice way to relax, and your stories are so funny. And so I'm just grateful that you took the time to be on. I know you have a life, and so I just really appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on. That's pretty much exactly why I started doing the TikTok thing. So that means a lot to me. I appreciate it.
And I love how you use your stories to like, you make people laugh, but you're also like, you know, that was a crazy fucking story and I don't live that way anymore. And
I'm dead ass serious about every single one of them.
But I'm shocked at how well you remember these stories. Is there a trick? Do you take a certain nootropic or a brain trick that makes you remember these things so well?
It could have been a combination of Mountain Dew and methamphetamine that got me to that brain space, but I'm not 100% sure. The odd thing is there's probably 5 million more of them that I absolutely can't remember at all.
My God, I can't imagine.
You're not going to retain any of that much.
So tell me, are you from Texas?
Yeah, born and raised in Central Texas. Been here my whole life.
Okay, and I know that you said you grew up with your mom, who's pretty religious, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Mom was real religious. My father too was a minister for a long time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we lost him when I was 14 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, he had brain cancer, and he'd been sick a really long time. You know, so obviously that just kind of adds to the trauma, you know, of growing up. It's hard enough, you know, without some crazy stuff going on, which I'm sure you're all too familiar with.
Sure, of course. Just being a kid is hard, right? And just trying to stay on the right track. And our parents nowadays, they're working however many jobs, and you know, to just have that guidance on what's the right thing to do with these feelings. How do I even sort this out?
Exactly.
So how did you sort yours out? Tell me a little bit, because I know you had quite a journey to your recovery.
Sure. Yeah. You know, like we had talked about before, it was really, for me, it was about picking up things as I went along, you know, tools and coping mechanisms and things like that, because I had seasons of my drug abuse. You know what I mean? Like I would start off with this substance and then change. And I've just been a polysubstance abuser basically my whole time while I was out there getting high. And since I would do this, and I would have, you know, moments of clarity, I would have some time in sobriety where I might go to treatment or, you know, start going back to meetings and things like that. And luckily along the way, you know, you hear, you know, people's stories and how they relate them sometimes is almost more important than what the story itself is. And being able to pick up bits and pieces, you know, like a little recovery buffet.
Right.
You know, off of there and leaving what, you know, like hominy and stuff that I don't like.
So you grew up with your mom, and I love, so your name is tell me, Sabin. Laban.
Pretty close.
So that was a tough one. So that added to the trauma growing up.
Absolutely. They would start to call the names, and I would just be like, I'm Seth. Graves is Seth. I need to go Laban thing. Thanks,
Is
Mom.
there a reason why she named you that? Does it have a significance?
It's a biblical name. It's from the Old Testament. And it actually fits me really well because Laban was kind of a different kind of guy and a trickster, if you will. So it fit me that. But I have never gone by that name. My mother in the state of Texas, whether that be, you know, court or public school, are the only people that have ever called me that, you know.
Government name. Gotten away with it. You're telling a story about when you went to prison, when they found out your name was Laban in prison. How did that go?
Dude, you know, it not so bad because fortunately a lot of people don't want to pronounce, things wrong. And there's a lot of people with crazy ass names in prison, so um, I had kind of come in with a nickname already from county jail. And so a lot of the people that I was in county jail with had gone with me. So that kind of went away, pretty fast once I was able to introduce myself and everything. It went away pretty fast. But being called labia in high school and stuff like that was a traumatic. I'm just now getting over it.
Yeah, I bet. And how old are you now, Seth? And how much time in recovery do you have?
I turned 41 on October the 12th, and my clean date is 2/10/18.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
So tell me about, how did your substance use begin? Was it weed like everybody, or alcohol, or?
Yeah, alcohol. And alcohol has absolutely been the scourge of my life. Anytime I would get away from the harder drugs, alcohol would bring me right back to it. My I'm having fun drinking button is like right next to my let's go get some heroin button. Side by side.
Right.
But yeah, it started off with alcohol, and then I progressed to marijuana. I think that's a pretty normal progression. But I grew up in a really rural community, and there was a lot of farming and things like that going on. So methamphetamine manufacturing and the things that you need to make it kind of go hand in hand with the agricultural setting, and hydrous ammonia and things like that you need for that. And of course, this is before they took the ephedrine away. It was much easier to get the components for it at that point. So there was a lot of mom and pop things like that going on where I was from.
So what do you feel like your first moment of clarity was going through your addiction? Like, what was the first time that you remember stopping and thinking, ooh, maybe I should not, or, oh, that resonated with me. Maybe there's a problem.
Well, there were quite a few, right? So overdosing was a major one, but this was very early on in my time using, and so I had overdosed on heroin, and was able to get help, thankfully, to get me out of that overdose, and then I quit using for a few months at least. It scared me enough that it took me away from it for a few months, but then it's almost kind of like failing a class in school. It's like that didn't kill me, just a little bit killed me. So it was pretty easy for me being young at that point to think that I was still kind of bulletproof and invincible, and go right back to it. But there was a series of those moments of clarity too, and just had to be in the right mind frame to not overlook it.
Yeah, so for me personally, at one point in my using, I used to keep this very tiny calendar diary thing. And I was doing so much Xanax at the time, I couldn't remember anything that was happening. So I would write it down in this little book just so I would know my life, whatever was going on. I didn't have a fucking clue. So one of the moments of clarity for me was I had been writing everything down, and this one day I was working at Party City at the time. I was supposed to go to work. I don't go in. My friend takes a bunch of pills from my other friend's dad, who was super sick. We didn't know what they were. They were they were somas, muscle relaxers. So we thought,
oh yeah, awful.
What's that going to do? Right. So we take 10 each, which was way too many. That was, the most fucked up I've ever been. I don't remember any of it, but they were you were doing 8 foot by 8 foot swings trying to walk straight. I was just wow. Yeah. And so after that day, I was wow, I should not do that. And so I wrote it down in my little book that today was, this day that I'm going to try to not do hard drugs. I'll still smoke weed. I never was a drinker. Both my parents have severe alcohol issues, and so I've always stayed away from it. And I remember that lasted 3 days. And me being wow, that wasn't very long. 3 days, all that conviction I had on day one, and I only lasted 3 days. And then beyond that, I even got, started getting into opiates, which was even worse than what the pills and the coke that I was doing before. Like you, I had those different seasons of different drug use, right?
Sure.
So that is one story that I definitely vividly remember, because I wish I still had the book somewhere. I really do.
Yeah, that would be great to look back on.
Oh my God. I would love to look at it today. But I got sober really young. And I'm very grateful for that, because I know as you get older, things get, you have a lot more to lose, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I have lost it all. I absolutely lost everything. And that, that's from material things that you've managed to get together, to relationships with my biological kids have really taken a giant hit. And this is all stuff that I'm still trying to climb out of,
Right.
because it's just like staying clean, trying to get these things back. Most especially the relationships with people it takes time, and it takes really careful navigation of things too, because they might not be ready to accept your apology and let you back into their life just because of how severe your, ignorance was about the whole situation.
Right. And this isn't your first time in recovery. You've been in recovery before, or have you had any substantial amount of time prior to this?
I would not say substantial amount of time. I've had like a year, 18 months before at different points. I would always use the like sort of the positive things that were happening in my life as a reason to stop using. But then as soon as something that I perceived negative would happen, I would get right back into it. And I would just kind of trick myself into being like, I'm just going to weekend warrior this time. Like, all I'm going to do is drink and smoke weed every once in a while, and that's it. And that never lasts long. And then you end up being in a way worse position than you were like the time before.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. And some of your stories are wild, but one of my favorite ones, I don't know why I've watched it so many times. I mean, you have a lot on there, but you're talking about you're in a trap house for whatever reason. You don't know what you were doing there, but you were there and someone gets pulled over outside with the test kit thing. And you guys the one guy's like, oh, let's use the shit out of the test kit, bro. Tell me the story again. I have to hear it again.
We're sitting inside of this place, and someone got pulled over, right out in front of the house, right? And we obviously we're like through the blind, looking at it, and the guy ends up just taking off, and the cop, goes and leaves, is like chasing, and just that whole meth head mentality is like, what might be out here? You know what I mean?
Right.
And we had seen the cop like break the ampule and shake it up and everything, And so we go out there and total piece of shit, dirtbag, like looking through all their stuff, real quick, because we know the cops. And then, I think in the video I said we found a roll of aluminum foil or something that we took with us. But yeah, my homeboy that I was hanging out with at the time takes the drug test kit, and we go back in the house, and he's like, shit, it's positive, and I'm like, you better Google that shit first or something. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to turn into a zombie, dude. Like what's going to happen to you, And I think lucky for him, he ended up missing it. And then all he had was like a volleyball size.
Oh my God.
Which is no big deal, right? Like,
sure.
It'll go away. Probably.
Right. No, my favorite thing about your stories is that it does help me remember that time. And I think, when I got sober, I was in such a survival mode that I wasn't thinking about anything and just like, how can I stay sober so I can have a place to live, so I can like not go to prison, so I can just do adult things. And It caused me to forget a lot of that stuff. And like, that was a total me move. If I saw that you were arrested and your fucking car door was open, that car's, everything in that car is now mine if I want it. You know, like when I was on house arrest, Seth, house arrest, okay, for drug trafficking, it was Christmas time. And I knew that I had about 60 seconds, 90 seconds before that box starts beeping. And what was I doing? I was running in and out of cars through my neighborhood, robbing everything, bringing it back to the house. Like, woof, woof, woof. I mean, I got this nice, the best thing I got that night was this Dolce & Gabbana perfume, the one. I was like, this is popping right now. But, so yeah, I was actually looking at your TikTok before I came here, and I didn't get to watch the one that I pulled up, but it was about a pawn shop. And tell me the story, because I didn't get to listen to it.
So you just do dumb shit, right? When you're out there and like you said, survival mode, right? Like that for getting high, you know, it kind of is applicable too, right? Because I'm just trying to get high, you know? And so I had this pawn shop that I would hit up all the time, right? And like I said in the video, right? Like pawn shops are like thrift stores. Except instead of dead people's shit, it's stolen shit. Right?
Right.
Every pawn shop is stolen shit, right? People bumping it off left and right. Okay. So I had completely screwed up my relationship with this pawn shop guy. I went in there and he was like, I can't take anything more from you because, you know, the cops came and, you know, they have your name. And I'm like, why the fuck would you give them my name? I don't think about the pawn ticket has my name on it because I'm a complete idiot and just like turn it in myself, you know? So he's like, you gotta get the fuck out of here, you know? So I leave and I find this other one, but this other one was one I had never been in before. And it was an Indian guy that worked there, right? Well, I find this DeWalt generator. DeWalt is that's what I look for, right? I'm looking for DeWalt. I used to, not anymore. And I find this DeWalt gas generator and it was all kind of beat to hell, right? Like it was like, you know, in front of a house that they were working on, and I drove by and I looked and no one was looking, and so I just took it, right? I just take it, put it in my shit and drive off. And I thought, because I was ridiculous, that if I painted it, you know, yellow like DeWalt shit is, right? But I couldn't find that DeWalt yellow. So it ends up more like Cub Cadet yellow, you know. So I paint this thing up and I take it in there. My first time messing with this pawn shop guy, and he's like, "What the fuck is that? No one will buy this from me. No one. No, they will be embarrassed to have it at the job. It looks like it came from Wish.com. What the fuck are you doing? You know." I tried to play it off like I wasn't the one that painted it. I had yellow all over my hands. And, you know, the thing was still wet, sticky. And so I was like, just give me $200. You don't get $200 for anything.
Right.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Right? Like a 5-carat diamond in there. They're like, I'll give you $30.
Literally.
Hey, you know? So I take it in there. I'm trying to bump this thing off to him. And I'm like, just $200. You know, he's like, no one is going to want this. Like, I'm embarrassed for you. I'm like, I strapped this thing to my back and rode here on you know, trying to get $100. Like, can you please just give me something for it? And the guy's like, I'll give you $4.
No, are you kidding me?
$4. Like, you won't have to sign a pawn ticket or anything. Here you go. That's all right. So it's like the worst episode of Pawn Stars of all time. Right, of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When $4, that's nothing, but I believe it. I believe that to my core. So when I was growing up, you know, I grew up in South Florida, and so obviously it's popping down here, and all the pill mills were here, and it was a whole thing as a kid. And so unfortunately, I was in high school, and all the other kids in my high school got hooked on pills. We were all on them. Everybody, from the captain of the football team to the trailer park kids that I hung out with, we were all on pills. And we had this one pawn shop ran by these Russians. And oh God, they were like a nightmare, right? So, and at night we would like go through cars. That was our thing. And I would have all these GPSs and these radar detectors were my little thing. And so we would go there and they would never give us shit, like $5 for these things. And my friend Terry would have this joke. He goes, oh, you need a DVD player? We have them stacked to the ceiling. You need a radar detector? We have 37,000 different types. And that's just how it was. Oh my gosh. And when I turned 18, that was my little shtick because the other kids couldn't pawn stuff yet because you got to be 18 to pawn stuff. So that was like my little way of making money for a while. Thank God nothing terrible ever came from it. Surprisingly.
Me too.
I don't know how it happened, but I'm grateful for it. The closest thing I ever got in trouble to right towards the end there was I went to Publix. We were having a barbecue and but we didn't have food. So I was like, I'll go get some food for us. And I think they just sent me in to get the basics. But of course, I had taken some acid or mushrooms. And so I get in there and it starts kicking in. And I'm like, oh, wow. And I should have just been cool, just like walked in and walked out. But of course, now I'm like all in my head. So I'm like hiding behind this fireworks stand. And I'm like, well, I should grab some fireworks too. And so now by the end of my trip, my hands are full of food. I got beef jerky. I got all sorts of shit. And I just decide I don't have a choice. I have to just run the fuck out the front door with all this stuff. And I run out and my getaway car is there and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Like, we told you to grab a pack of hamburgers, like in your shirt, not a thing of the whole grocery store. And I walk out and I get in the car and they're yelling at me. And then all I remember is my friend Mike saying, ooh, beef jerky. And that was over. But I did hear about that one.
Women, like I believe go all out. If you're going to do 30 days in jail, you might as well do 300. You know what I'm saying?
And so I never knew this. And I had a recent guest on, Doug, who my friend Doug ended up doing 10 years in state prison for some like white collar crime, which I always thought he was in federal, but he was in Florida State Prison. And after hearing your story about one of the things that really made you think differently, and I'm hoping you can elaborate a little bit, is when you saw the air conditioners. And I didn't realize that these state prisons are not air conditioned.
Absolutely not. In Texas, there's several privately run prisons. Course, right? We got money on that, and some of those do have air conditioning, right? You even get a pillow.
Wow,
you get a pillow in the private one.
Everyone says good things about the private prisons.
Yeah,
for what it's worth. What's your feedback? You got any feedback? I've never been.
You want that slave labor? You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like, that's not like a great idea, right? In the other prisons in Texas, there is no air conditioning, right? So I'm at the oldest prison in Texas, right? I believe that the Walls unit was built in like 1856, I think, but don't quote. It's in there somewhere.
Wow.
I believe that in 1956, that fucker was 100 years old, right? So it's like every movie, like Escape from Alcatraz, Shawshank Redemption, all that. It looks just like that. You feel like you're in a museum, but you can't leave. And so I'm like walking to chow, okay, and there's these big old brick buildings that look like castles, and I'm going to chow, and I've been there a couple of days, and I see this building, and it has window units all along the outside, right? And I was like, man, what the fuck? How do those guys get air conditioning? Like, what do I got to do to get over there, And this guy was like, that's the hospice unit. You know what I mean? Dude, I've really not had too many statements that just hit me in the heart like that. And, in that moment, I could just imagine, the standard of care, like in prisons is awful. You know what I mean? Like these guys aren't being taken care of at all. I'm sure they're laying there in their own filth and in a small little jail cell, just suffering, right? Just suffering. And to know that you would be in there suffering anyway, even if you weren't terminally ill or old and sick, right? But that just added another level of it to me. And yeah, I could just transport myself into the future and see myself in one of those cells, having my last days be jammed up in some kind of human zoo, where nobody that really gives a fuck about you is going to have any kind of say so about how you're treated, and
wow.
that's like enough, for me to start that process of changing my mind. And luckily, like I said, I had some stays in treatment and everything, so I had some tools, at my disposal that I was just not using, and luckily that was really one of the catalysts, to get my mind right and start doing right.
Now, do you work a 12-step program right now?
I do not. I got clean in NA. Coming out of prison, I still had a few years of parole to finish out, and that was one of my parole stipulations, that you make 3 12-step meetings a week, minimum. And luckily for me, there was 3 different ones around here, like in three different locations on 3 different days. So it made it pretty easy. And I met some awesome people. I got a sponsor. I worked some steps. I did, and it wasn't my first time in NA either. I had done like Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, NA and AA. And I just got a book actually from a follower the other day called Recovery Dharma, right? Which is, a program that is like based in the tenets of Buddhism, right? And it's beautiful. I just finished the book not too long ago, and it's actually a beautiful way of thinking about it. If you're working a spiritual program in any way, shape, or form, you can put that into your recovery, and I think that's really it's telling, about what it is that you're missing when you're in the depths of your addiction, is spirituality and connection.
100%.
So I think why NA and AA work so well. People have there's a common thread that's holding you all together. And when you hear someone's story, you can hear it in your own in your own way too. But no, I don't still do the 12-step meetings. And I had some bad experiences, but obviously it works for millions of people. So
sure.
I would never badmouth it or anything like that. And I can honestly say, if I ever started feeling like I was slipping up, I would know that I could go there and be welcomed with open arms, and there's going to be people that that are going to be there. So it's a great thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. It was really sad during COVID, when nobody really had access to going to meetings and stuff like that. I definitely don't participate in 12 steps like I used to for years and years and years. I went to a meeting every single day. Right. And then I just started to have difficulty with not being able to think freely, or at least speak about it if I felt certain ways about things, which weren't bad. They were just different. And I've just always been that way. And so, yeah, it was time for me to move forward, and I still do some 12-step stuff, but just grow in more ways, right? It's been a decade and a half for me, and I just needed a little bit of something different, maybe. Right. So I totally get that. I got it. What is it called? What's the Recovery Dharma?
Yeah, Recovery Dharma. Dharma is, just a phrase in Buddhism that, it means the way or the teaching or whatever like that. And so it's kind of taken some stuff from Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, and, incorporated it into a little bit of a different thing. And obviously Buddhists don't pray to a God. So it kind of takes where that's difficult for some people, the whole higher power thing. It's not really like harped on in any kind of way in there. And you're really more so leaning on your group, like the people that you have in your group. Unfortunately, there's not a group around here.
They have groups that meet for Recovery Dharma. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's called a sangha, but that's almost like your group of friends, like in Buddhism, And I believe the follower, I can't believe I can't remember her name, but she's in Corpus Christi, Texas, and they have a
cool.
group that's there. So it would be really cool to go see, like the organizational part of it and how it all works out, just from knowing what NA and AA is all about.
Yeah, I love all these new pathways to recovery that are available to people, because obviously in 2008, when I started my journey, there was AA and NA. CA was just coming out, right? And that was it. And if you didn't do that, you were a big piece of shit. No, I'm just kidding. Right. That was destined for a relapse. But, that's how people thought back then.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it, too. And I had gone through medical assisted treatment prior to before I went to prison using methadone.
Oh man, did they give you methadone when you got to prison, or what was that experience like?
I had already fucked that off.
Oh, you had already fucked it up.
Yeah.
Good, thank God. I mean, do they give you methadone in prison? Is that an option?
No. They in Texas they won't give you anything. I know that there were some people that had some sleep issues and things like that, so there was like Seroquel here and there, which of course ends up being diverted and no one's using it for what they're supposed to use it for. But that would happen with methadone or anything in the ink, to make money from something a lot of times is way stronger than fixing yourself.
Sure. 100%. 100%.
Absolutely.
So how long were you on the methadone for?
I want to say it was about 7 or 8 months. I had a really bad Vicodin habit, hydrocodone habit. And this just sounds like I found out how much it was to go to the methadone clinic, how much money it was. And I was like, dude, I'm spending like $300 a day on Vicodin, right? I could spend like $120 a week. And
yeah, that math's mathin' for sure.
Yeah. So that's where I started. But I made a rule, you had to go in the beginning of it. Obviously you have to go every day and take your dose and all that stuff. And then eventually, once you work yourself up, they would give you some take home doses. Until eventually I only went 1 day a week.
Oh, but you must have been doing good then, because they were drug testing you and stuff like that, right? Or
I was cheap. You know what I mean?
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Well, not good for you, but I've known people who they should have just cheated instead of having to go there every morning. Like, figure it out, bro, because this that 6 a.m. thing, like, that would kill me. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I mean, obviously, I know they don't want to be sick. I get it. There's a reason to wake up, but God, they don't make it easy. They really don't make it easy at the methadone clinic, in my experience.
No, and it was really interesting being there. I actually met a guy that I started buying methamphetamine from, whom I met at the clinic, and and he was like, you can't have this show up in your urine screen or they're going to take you off of the thing, right? So I would just have a friend pee in one of my methadone bottles, right? And then I would just take it into the thing and just dump it in the cup, right? There's a couple of times where I dope fiended it and didn't have the pee at the right temperature, and shit like that. So they're like, why is your pee 74 degrees? Are you dead? The reason I put it in the methadone bottle was because I had turned in one before and it didn't have any methadone in it.
I was thinking that.
So they were like, what are you doing here? A little bit of methadone residue in that bottle and just having pee in there. Then
really? See, you're such a critical thinker, Seth. It's working out. Right. When I went to detox, so I was court ordered for a drug assessment, right? I wasn't court ordered till treatment. They needed to assess me. So everyone knows the story. I got my assessment. I brought urine with me. The urine went all over my clothes, so I had to wear someone else's urine for the day, which was awesome. And it also created me having to be honest with the people that if you're really going to use my urine, I'm fucked. I'm a fucking come up across the board on this, right? So But I was scared because my probation officer was like waiting for that to happen to violate me. So I was like, I can't even be honest with you guys because this lady has a hard on for me and just wants me to fail this thing. So I end up in detox and they're trying to drug test me again. And I'm ignorant 18-year-old. I don't have a clue. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I'm a baby, right? So I'm in the detox looking for clean urine. I'm like, do you have clean urine? Why would anyone in detox have clean urine, Allie? Obviously no one there has clean urine. Like, are you slow? Holy shit. Christ. So I know from watching your stories, I'm like one of your biggest fans, that when you went to prison, when you got out, you still have at some point had a relapse or a slip up or whatever you want to call it. Can you tell us how that happened and, just for other people who may experience the same thing or?
For sure. So yeah, I got out of prison, and the place that I caught my charge at,
which was what?
The place I caught my charge at.
What was the charge?
It was possession of a prohibited weapon, being a pipe bomb.
Oh.
I was tweaking. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but in Texas, that gets you jammed up, right?
Right.
And so they gave me deferred adjudication on it. I could not do that to save my life. And then I went on the run, and they caught me up, and they were like, yeah, now you're going for sure, right? So then I go to prison. Well, I do those couple of years. And I get out, and I didn't partake in drugs in prison. I did drink some hooch every once in a while, but I didn't partake in the drugs. It just didn't seem like a good idea to me at all. I was kind of getting there.
Right.
So I get out of prison, and I go back. I'm living in the town that I live in now, right? But my children live in another town a few hours away, right? So I go back there where all of my old bullshit ass people are at, right? And I fucked up. I let that shitty self-talk get in my head. And by shitty self-talk, I mean like you can get away with it. Like you don't have to go report until blah 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 date, right? So if you just do a little meth, you're gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Just do a little, I immediately felt like the most giant piece of shit on earth, right? I'm in this place to visit my kids, right? And now I'm not there, right? And now I put myself in a position where I can't even go see them with a clear conscience. You know what I'm saying? And so it fucked me up. You know what I mean? And I was only a month out of prison,
wow.
Right? But I was going to these meetings, but I hadn't got a
sponsor.
So when I came back from that trip, it was just like a long weekend or whatever. And I'm not trying to minimize what I did or anything, but I didn't use the whole time. It was this one thing, I got high real quick. It wasn't even the method that I would preferably use to do
There's
this.
Different kinds of meth?
No, like the method of ingestion was different.
Okay.
Than what I would typically have done. So it just, man, it made me as depressive as I ever been in my life. I felt like the second I get back in town, they're going to drug test me. And, if you fuck up a month out, like you're going back.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to a meeting immediately when I got back home. It just worked out that way. And I went and I got a sponsor and I started working steps right then. Because at this place, when you went in, you signed your clean date next to your name. And, and I signed that old clean date, like my old original one, right? Mm-hmm. I signed it on there. Well, when it came time to share, I just felt compelled. I was like, you're just lying to all these people who are taking time out of their day to help you out and get help. And you never know what you're going to give or get that's going to help somebody else. So just stop being a fucking idiot. Right. And so I was like, say, look out. I fucked up last weekend and did some drugs. Right? took a little spiral notebook and I changed my clean date on it. And, you know, because I'm dramatic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
And somebody was like, you need a sponsor, right? And I just started asking people, you know, that were there. And I think it was the second person I asked. The first person I asked was like, you ain't ready for me, right? And I was like, no, I'm not. You're right. And there was someone in there that had like 25 years. And I was like, will you be my sponsor? And, you know, and he was like, yeah, absolutely, of course, you know, and, you know, first rattle out of the box, you know, he wanted my story and he seemed really interested and he was really, you know, kind and considerate about all of the things, you know, but he also didn't pull any punches, you know, and he's like, you're on this parole shit. You're having to deal with these people every day that aren't trying to get their lives together. Like when you go to these parole classes, you need to go do what you got to do and get the fuck out of there. Don't give anybody a ride home. Like none of that shit. Like we're taking care of you right now. Fuck those people, you know?
That's actually really good advice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's always equated to like in an airplane, like using your own mask for, you know, getting your shit situated so you can help someone else. Like when you're just out there being a fucking dope fiend, you can't help anybody do anything except ruin their life a little bit further. That's about all. Yeah.
Totally. And that actually, see, I love how your stories remind me of things. So I had relapse after my first time I got 9 months. I relapsed, I drank, and I did pick up the white the next day, but I beat myself up so long that I did not pick up another key tag until my year. I was like, none of it matters. I've already done it. I'm not raising my hand. I'm not doing it. I'm not participating until I get a year again and can pick up like a new key tag, right? Because I was just like, I don't remember what they say about the yellow. You're in, right? Whatever it is.
Yeah, that's it.
I love all those funny ones. But that's really good advice. And to be honest, the first lady I asked to sponsor me was in a halfway house with me. I just I was like, I don't know who to ask. I'm going to ask this lady really quick. I was in a DOC rehab anyway. And yeah, it was all right. I don't know what she's doing now, but just do it. That's why I tell people, just do it. If you feel like you got to do something, just do it. Who gives a fuck? I might not be the right person. They might not be a great fit for you. You have no idea why the universe brings that person to your life.
Exactly. Like, look at Yoda. You wouldn't think Yoda could give any advice at all. Like, he's little, he's green, his ears are all fucked up, but he knows everything, right? So you can't look at the package. You know what I mean? It's what's inside there.
Totally. I love that. So what do you do now, Seth? How do you stay happy and sober? And what do you do for work? What's your life like? And how are you loving it? And what brought you to TikTok? And how's that going for you?
So the TikTok thing, I'm doing great.
Good.
Right. I work in landscaping in a sort of beautiful kind of resort town. You know, that there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. I'm married to a childhood friend that we've known each other our lives, and she has every bit to do with my recovery as any other outside person. And I honestly couldn't be happier with the way that my life is now. You know, I'll tell you one thing that I added that has helped me in my recovery has been I became a vegetarian.
Oh,
because I fucking hated vegetables, right?
Right.
I was like a potatoes kind of guy. And I was like, if I can add this level of discipline in my life of something that I know I can like go against what I'm saying. I mean, I could eat a fucking chicken leg, right? Like, and only I would know that I screwed up, right? But if I can do that on something that's like not a big deal, then it really like adds this other level of discipline to my life. I've found anyway that has really kept me on the straight and narrow. And I feel terrific. I'm not trying to push veganism or vegetarianism, but just you never know, you know, the other like forms of discipline, just like having a routine, like all that going to bed at the same fucking time every night, you know, like all those kind of things have really helped me that's what my program of recovery really consists of, is mindfulness, meditation, and, the things that I just mentioned. My very best friend in the world, Will Bratton, shout out Will Bratton. He actually, in a weird way, got me to do TikTok. He told me when I got out of prison, he's one of the only people that stuck by me through thick and thin. We have always had a relationship, and he's always been a really great friend to me, even when I was being a fucking dirtbag. And he was like, "Bro, your prison stories are hilarious. Like you need to be like a stand-up comedian, And he was like, just record some stuff, like, so you can get like a set together, right? And then that kind of evolved into like putting the little, clips on TikTok. And I'm like less than a year into my TikTok venture, right? And I feel like it's going pretty well so far. And I really hope it's helped a lot of people, but it's really helped me, getting that out there. And I just want people to see that you can get, until you die from this, you can get out of it, right? Like, I'm wealthy. I didn't have, Bruce Wayne or somebody like come and help me out. Like this has all been like a community concerted effort that I just had to be willing and ready to, to do my own part in it. So it's it's a hell of a ride.
I love it so much. And yeah, when like literally it makes me think like this is anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. I guess it just takes, taking some suggestions and staying focused. I work with people every single day, and I have this one specific client who he is funny. He is so funny. He is just fucking hilarious. He is honest. He is, to me, his caseworker or whatever I am, everyone else is probably a lying piece of shit, but he never really gives it to anyone who doesn't deserve it. Right. Like, this other day he comes to my office and he's like, yeah, well, I said, well, what happened this weekend? He goes, well, I'm sitting outside. These two beautiful women bought me a piece of pizza, 2 slices of pizza, and I'm eating it on Clement, which is like our downtown area. And he goes, and this fucking guy comes up to me and asks me if I'll suck his dick for $5, right? And I was like, the fuck? Right? Like, this guy got me fucked up. So I finish my pizza, I find him, and then I gently place him on the ground. Right? Because now he just told me he has $5. And so, he's just telling me this whole story, and even the cops love him, right? And honestly, it reminds me when I watch your stories that I just hope one day he has that opportunity or that moment of clarity to do something different, because it's hard when you end up homeless and you're not talking to your kids and you don't have a relationship with your family and you feel like just like a piece of shit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I don't know. How do you feel like, because I know we have to wrap up soon, but how do you feel like a person can put that aside for a moment to give themselves an opportunity at a recovery lifestyle? Any suggestions there?
I'm sure that it's incredibly difficult when you are just leaning on yourself. I feel like if somebody were to just give you a chance, right, or even just a little ray of sunshine about how you are, maybe somebody, like you said, you can see that this guy is honest and funny and all those things that, sometimes it just takes somebody keying in on that and letting because deep down, that you have good quality, right? That these things are present inside of you. So I think sometimes when someone mentions it to you, it kind of like the Grinch, like it makes your heart grow 2 sizes, like you're like, you know what? Fuck yeah, I'm funny. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
like, I am on, like shit like that, And that doesn't happen without community, though, right? Like if you're out there, busking, begging for change and stuff, there it'll be few and far between that somebody's going to come up and be like, "You're a swell guy."
Right.
So difficult. I'm sure it's really difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that the work that you do, like getting people into treatment centers and things like that, like that's probably the greatest step, because there is somebody there that cares and can hopefully say the right thing or things to you to kind of get those wheels moving and make you realize that you have every reason to get clean. You know, the universe wants you in it. It wants you in it clean and healthy so you can do the best amount of good and what you're supposed to be doing. I really believe that.
Totally. Yeah. It's a good opportunity I have every day to try to impact people. Obviously, I work for our street outreach team. So we got all sorts of people out there. We got people with drug problems, mental health problems, just all the problems that one could have, and just to show up with grace for them and just compassion and patience, because you need it, is something that I'm glad that I even found that's a thing out there. It takes a special person. You'd probably be awesome at it, to go out there and just deal with people who are seeing things and hearing they think they're married to Trump, or somebody from I got a lady who thinks the guy from Sons of Anarchy is her husband. I don't blame her, right? I get it. I'm with it, Miss Laura. We're about it. So we got lots going on out there. But it is always an opportunity to remind people that they are beautiful and loved and amazing. I think that's a really good point. Seth, thanks for coming and hanging out with me today.
Hell yeah, Allie. Thanks for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much again.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you grow. Everyone, please go follow Seth Graves here on TikTok. I love it. I assure you that you will get a laugh out of it and a smile, and sometimes that's all you need for the day. So please go visit him. You're not on Instagram, no, right?
Yes, I am. It's the same handle.
Oh, okay. Because I usually I'll download your videos and post them to my Instagram story, and I was trying to tag you in them, but I couldn't find you. So I will follow you after this so I can tag you for everybody. And thanks for hanging out with us, Seth.
Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Have an awesome Thanksgiving.
I will. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.